Hello, friends. Welcome to our little corner of the internet. Here we talk about real supernatural experiences that happen to real people. This next story comes from Christy, a co founder of this channel. This happened to her in 1989. We hope you enjoy part 1 of her story. It started out as any other lady's slumber party, except that it's in beautiful Yosemite National Park, and it's the weekend of the summer solstice on a really full moon. We are going to have a blast. There are 5 women and a few kids. One thing we ladies know is how to have a good time. I am one of the first to arrive at my sister Janet's house in El Portal. She works for the National Park Service and is staying in a 2-story wood condo with a balcony upstairs. And the gal that lives upstairs is gone for the weekend. That's a good thing because we have a tendency to get very loud laughing and carrying on. It was a beautiful drive up from LA on a warm summer day. 7 hours with the windows down and Fleetwood Mac blasting out the windows of my little Honda, winding through the beautiful golden rolling hills of the Sierras with beautiful oak trees and that golden wheat that makes California so beautiful. Without a care in the world. I was so excited. My sister's parties are always such a blast. Everyone was supposed to arrive around 5. Condra, Libby, Maxine, and Libby's and their 3 daughters. We are waiting and waiting, and no one arrives. Finally, we get a call that both of the cars in the caravan had mechanical trouble coming down the big steep coal grade that drops down into Yosemite Valley from Oakhurst. We didn't think anything of it at the time, and we hopped in the car to go get them. On the way, I said to my sister Janet, "Wow, what a big, bright, beautiful full moon." It was just starting to rise, and it seemed huge for some reason. We get about halfway up the grade and see the girls. One had overheated coming down the grade, and the other was having electrical problems. Kind of strange, considering it wasn't that hot anymore, and was beginning to cool down. And both cars had broken down in the same area, while going downhill, mind you. But they had both just climbed that steep grade. We said. Kind of weird. But again, we didn't think anything of it at the time. We just laughed it off and chalked it up to the full moon, and the fact that many strange coincidences happen when my sister and I get together. It's always been that way. We just laugh when it happens. What else can you do? It probably happens to all sisters. I don't know. We get all the ladies and kids from the overheated car into our car and leave the overheated one on the side of the road and are going to call a tow truck. It won't start. We are following the car with electrical problems back to my sister's house. And then on the way, the headlights in our car start going off and on, off and on. The girls in the car with electrical problems said the lights and radio kept going off and on, off and on. Weird. We really didn't think anything of it at the time. We were so happy to see each other and get the party started. We all just laughed it off again. We all settled in, and pretty soon everyone had arrived, and all the girls were there. The best and most beautiful sister anyone could ever ask for, inside and out, in the whole world, Janet. Her 2 awesome and totally outgoing and well-rounded kids, Corey, age 5, and Adam, who's 9. Janet's good friend and very beautiful long-legged brunette from Oakhurst named Condra, her 2 stepdaughters, and Libby, a tall, thin blonde that managed the local Burger King, and her kids, and finally Janet's other very intelligent and full of character friend from Oakhurst, Maxine, and myself. We had some dinner, and then Janet's ex-husband Joe dropped in, and he and the 3 of us ladies, Janet, Condra, myself, and Joe, are relaxing in the backyard after dinner, sitting on the lawn in a circle having margaritas. If you have ever been to El Portal, you know that the Merced River winds around El Portal like a snake through the valley floor and down and out west toward the ocean. If you are leaving Yosemite National Park headed towards the San Joaquin Valley floor, Janet lives on the north side, on the right of the river. The road cuts through the middle and winds with the river, and on the south side, on the left, there are more houses and a few hotels, but very few. Yosemite National Park has huge steep granite walls, and as you head down towards the San Joaquin Valley and follow the Merced River, the mountains become smaller and smaller until you reach the flat valley floor. The airspace is restricted because the noise and vibration could cause huge rock slides. Military jets are specifically banned, even though they do like to buzz in now and then to test their skills in tight canyons from time to time, even though it's unauthorized. I was facing looking out towards the mouth of the valley, and suddenly from the left comes a military jet resembling an F-22, I guess. It appeared to be a fighter jet of some kind. It didn't really enter the valley, it stayed outside the park and just flew across the mouth of the valley. The moon was up and bigger than I have ever seen, and is hanging there in the middle of the mouth of the valley. The jet sails across the opening of the valley and leaves this huge vapor trail. We don't think much of it at the time. We are having too much fun. But everyone notices it because the moonbeams hit the vapor trail, causing it to glow a very beautiful yellow, and the vapor trail had a silver lining. It was so bright. Inside the cockpit, it seemed as if we could see the pilot's silhouette with the moon behind him like that, although I am sure he was too far away. Then, all of a sudden, I look out of the corner of my left eye, and behind the hill, a huge dome-shaped craft is coming over the mountain. It resembles two inverted stainless steel bowls with a band of colored lights around its center and a flashing beacon on top. For lack of a better comparison, it has the same shape or silhouette of a hamburger, except it is smooth and silver. The dome is at least as big as a house and probably much bigger. I point to it and say, "Look! Oh my God, what is that?" We all sit and watch in silence and awe for a few seconds. "Is that real, Janet?" I said to my sister. "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" Joe says, "Yeah, babe, it's real." We watch, absolutely stunned, speechless and motionless, as it slowly moves out over the hillside, and it starts beaming at least 6 or 7 white light beams, like small searchlights. Many of them are searching and swirling around, lighting up the pine trees underneath it, approximately 10 to 30 feet below. It appears to be searching for something, like a police helicopter would, only it has many spotlights, all going different ways, shining the beams on the ground and out horizontally. But we don't hear anything. The valley is quiet. It is a national park. You can hear a helicopter coming for miles. It begins gliding down the mountain, straight towards us, lighting up the pines below, taking what it seems like 5 minutes, scanning and searching as it floats down the mountain, and then it slowly comes across the road and the river to our side. It is now crossing the road in front of us and crosses the river and scans the whole way until it settles and hovers over a spot we analyzed later as 1/4 to 1/2 a mile down the river, pretty much due west. It is silently hovering from 30 to 100 feet off the ground. Night distances are hard to judge. It opens up a huge red beam from under the ship that spreads out into a huge conic beam that gets wider towards the ground as it leaves the underbelly of the ship. We later estimated the beam to be at least 1/2 a mile in diameter. We see some type of silver particles falling and sparkling from the ship that are visible through the red beam. Don't ask me how we could see this from 1/4 to 1/2 mile away, but we could. The particles appeared to be silver bars falling diagonally, horizontally, and vertically, and the light would reflect off of them. When the craft opened up that huge red beam, I said, "Oh my God, they're going to suck up the animals?" And Janet said, "No, there's a campground over there." And I shouted, "Oh no! What about the people?" At that time, Whitley Strieber's book Communion is on the bestsellers list with a story of abductions and about his encounters with gray aliens, and people are being probed and medical experiments being performed on them, so I am freaking out. Everyone just stood silent and watched. Initially, we were all in awe and not at all afraid. Yet, we didn't really believe they were sucking up people. Instead, we were like children with a new toy and full of new wonder for the world. We were so amazed at this thing, and fear had not set in at all, like I said, yet. We hope you've enjoyed part 1 of this story. We're hoping to make this community a free space to share your experiences. If you would like to share an experience and have us read it, please check the description for information on how to do so. Also, please give us a like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified when part 2 is released. If we can hit 100 likes, we'll take it as a cue that you want to keep hearing this story.